Welcome. The entire Scribbles team hopes you're having a great day. Another week has gone by and so much is changing in our world. We know that schools are in planning mode right now, and that's why we're really excited to introduce you to Tanya Freeman and Bonnie Durr from Columbus City Schools. Their planning, vision, and systematic approach to help over 109 of their schools get on board when the district implemented K12 transfer. So those of you who are watching that don't know what K12 transfer is, it helps school districts to transfer student records in district, out of district, and all over the United States in a FERPA compliant and efficient way. So welcome, Bonnie and Tanya. We hope you're well today. I'm going to unmute you. There you go. How are you doing today?
We're doing great. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. So Tanya, we're going to start off by learning a little bit about Columbus City Schools. Can you bring us through?
Sure. Well, good afternoon. I'm Tanya Freeman, and I have Bonnie Durr, the records specialist extraordinaire for Columbus City Schools, with me. Columbus City Schools has over 50,000 students enrolled into about 109 schools. Each of those school buildings, as you know, would have many student cumulative records. And several years ago, I had the opportunity to form a committee to work on documentation for handling student records. It was a bit overwhelming. It was a new position for me, and so we started by forming the committee and gathering many secretaries from the buildings to see what they were doing with the records. And speaking with each of the secretaries, it was very obvious that people were keeping the documents that were required by law, but everyone in each of our buildings was doing it a little bit different and organizing their records a little bit different and handling record requests a little bit different. So we needed a way to make it uniform for all 109 buildings. So the first thing with all of the records that I looked at was we needed a way to easily retrieve the records and provide the records for the record requests. So we started a big project of digitizing all of our alumni records. And once we got that project, on its way, we decided that we needed a better way to respond to our records requests. So we went in search, and we're so fortunate to be able to find Scriborder. In, I think it was 2016, we found Scriborder, and in 2017, we were up and running with it to fulfill our high school alumni record requests. The Scribbles team did a fabulous job training all of our high school secretaries on how to fulfill the requests, and the secretaries and all of our alumni had nothing but positive things to say once we implemented that the Scriborder. Bonnie processes record requests for our closed schools, schools that have been closed over the years, and she also assists with training new secretaries on the Scriborder and the Scribbles K12 process. During 2019, we processed over 8,000 alumni record requests.
Wow.
So after utilizing Scriborder for our alumni requests for a couple of years, then we were introduced to Scribbles K12 transfer. Scriborder did a training for our CCS secretaries in May of 2019. I emailed all of our surrounding districts, the districts, the private schools, the charter schools, everyone that we get requests from on a normal basis, and told them we were going to be implementing the Scribbles K12 transfer process as of August 1st of 2019. So from May to August, it was very, very busy. We did a lot of work getting the other districts up, on board with what we were doing. And then as of August 1st, we took a very hardline approach that we would not accept any record requests via fax or any other way unless it came through the Scribbles K12 process. We made a letter that when we got the record request, whether it be from out of state or from someone that we hadn't contacted, that we just sent back to them explaining the process and how they would sign up to request records. I'll be honest, at first we had a little bit of pushback from some of the surrounding districts and schools, but once they created their account, we have had nothing but positive feedback. Everyone has been thrilled with being able to submit a request, track the request, and receive it electronically. So we've had very, very good feedback on it. And we've done, several thousand, as you can see, actual record request transfers for our students.
Wow.
11,296 coming from outside of the district that people were requesting records for, and 5,465 of students who are moving between Columbus City schools.
Wow. Wow. You mentioned you had a little bit of pushback from other districts at times. Is it hard to create an account?
It is not. They just simply go in and put in a little bit of information. Scribsoft verifies that the individual that put in the information does work for the school system that they say that they work for. They do all the verification process.
Oh,
and so you know that when you are releasing those records that it is being released to an appropriate person. So it's very secure that way once they create their account, and it's very easy to do. Perfect.
Thank you. And I think Bonnie's going to take us through this slide.
Yes, before the implementation of Scribbles K12 transfer, secretaries in our district received and responded to record requests in a variety of ways, such as fax, email, driving back and forth, US mail, and UPS or FedEx. However, Scribbles K12 has streamlined this process for us in that requests are received via the same uniform method. And then prior to Scribbles K12, requests were misplaced, lost, and many times set aside for later, not to mention the fact that each school was processing their respective requests using their own methods. This just wasn't efficient or effective for us. So the Scribbles K12 transfer process keeps record requests for us in an organized, manageable manner that secretaries can easily respond to. Ohio law dictates that record requests are to be responded to within 3 business days. So Scribbles K12 is an efficient method for tracking compliance from a centralized location when the process is decentralized. Because Scribbles K12 also gives status updates to the requester is kept informed as the request moves through the process. The audit trail of who fulfilled a request has also been instrumental in providing additional professional development when needed.
Okay, wonderful. So those were all the key drivers for implementing K12 transfer.
Yes, the 3 business days has been a big push, to make sure that we have at least responded. Not always can you fulfill them within 3 business days because they may owe fees or whatever, but
Right.
At least there's been a response to the respective school that's requesting that they know what's going on.
And I think you're going to speak a little bit more to that here, right, Tanya?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, this aging report was built, and it is fantastic for allowing us to see how many requests we have, how long they've been pending. You may see some that are 30 and 60 days pending, but when you go back and look at those requests, you can see that they have been responded to. We've just not been able to process them because we have had to request more information, or there's fees owed, or whatever the reason.
Some various issue.
Right.
Okay.
But it's a nice way to be able to quickly see what you have out there, pending.
Right. And you like to see that less than 15 days, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
For withdrawal purposes in Ohio, a record request is utilized or is required in order to withdraw a student to another school. So we worked with the Scribbles team, and they were able to make the request a downloadable PDF that we're able to upload into the student's electronic cumulative file to show that, we received that request and are able to withdraw the student.
Okay. Great. So in the beginning, we talked a bit about K12 transfer, what it is, and many times we email, we fax, or mail student records, which could result in a FERPA violation, especially if encrypted email is not used. So K12 transfer allows for records to be transferred safely and securely, and it allows visibility of where students are going in one central location. We know that, getting ahead of myself. We know that there was also a significant cost savings when Columbus City Schools implemented K12 transfer. They were able to save over $16,000 in postage, $12,000 in printing and copying fees, and not to mention the significant increase in employee productivity. There were no more lost records, no more duplicate requests. So we're really thrilled that some of those results came from K12 transfer. And Tanya, can you tell us a little bit more about the real-time reporting on transfer students?
So you're talking about the transfer reports? Absolutely.
Yes.
So with the transfer report, this easily allows us to see where students are transferring to. If you were wanting to track to see, where are the students going? It also allows us to easily sort at the central office level by school. So if I want to see how many requests are pending at Beechcroft or at, one of our specific schools, all I have to do is sort it, and I can run an Excel spreadsheet and see how many they've processed, how many they have pending, how many are internal, how many are external. I can get all the information I need right there at my fingertips with this report. This report also has been very instrumental. So being able to see how many are pending, because at the beginning of the year, it's very, very busy, as I'm sure it is at every district. And sometimes, at least in Columbus, we may have one building that has an overabundance of students enrolled with not as many allocations, and at another building it might not be as crowded, and we need to move an allocation from one building to the other so that our kids can get the best student teacher ratios going. And so this allows us to be able to see how many withdrawals are pending, so that if the secretary is a little behind in getting these processed and our withdrawals have not been processed, we can actually see that, they have this many and they could lose a teacher here, so that we can put them over here to better serve students that are overcrowded maybe.
Okay, so allotments, allocations, all kind of the teach size of classrooms.
Correct.
Okay.
So since implementing Scribbles and Scribbles K12, I no longer feel overwhelmed by my records and my record requests. Even though 109 schools are processing it, with pulling up a couple reports, I can see exactly where we are with our record requests. We can easily track internal records as to where they have been sent by using the record request Scribbles K12. So this has really been beneficial for us. And using the, if I can just interject here as well, when COVID-19 hit and we had to start working from home, it was very nice that we already had a process in place that was electronic for record requests to happen, because our secretaries, were able to take their equipment home and they can process the request from home just like they could in the office, where they don't have to worry about, is a fax coming in? Is the US mail a record request coming in? Because now that we've been doing it for a year, 90% or 90 plus percent are actually on board and know how we do things. And so they just have been sending the record requests via the Scribbles.
That is pretty awesome when you think of 109 schools doing everything the same way so that you have that overall visibility. So ladies, do you feel like this is how you feel now? A little bit more calm, cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. And our secretaries report the same.
That is awesome. That is great. So I do have a few questions for you if you have some additional time.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. So what is the status of schools in Ohio? We know that schools are closed all over, but have they made a decision as to the end of the year, just till May? I mean, what's the status right now?
We are closed for the remainder of this school year.
Okay. And so tell me what is going to happen in Columbus City Schools, or what was happening when you decided to go with K12 transfer. It was 109 schools all doing things differently, correct?
Yes. Well, with the actual transfer, we had uniformed the record request process for our alumni records, and we were looking for a more uniform way with our current student records and our record requests for that. And actually, we had a committee that was working on a student records handbook to put together of how to process everything. And the further we got into it and the more opinions that came in, the more we saw that we needed a electronic system for that as well. And it was just very fortunate that Ron had introduced Scribbles K12 and had sent a video to me, and I was like, oh, we need to check into this further. And so you guys have been great with working with us to make sure that it meets all of our needs.
Well, we are very happy to help. What are you expecting to see in terms of record requests and transfers as you move forward towards the fall?
Well, obviously, with COVID-19 having schools shut down until the end of the year, we expect a large number of record requests coming in the fall. We know that some of our students have moved, while we've been closed, they will move over the summer. But a lot of districts, are not enrolling students new right now. And so they are staying enrolled with Columbus, and, we are providing the education to them. And then when schools open back up and they're able to enroll in their new district, then we'll receive those requests.
Okay. And you feel like K12 transfer will help you be able to plan and prepare for those students in the summer when their records are transferred over?
Yes, we'll be able to, track the students just like we are now. I don't really see a big change in any of our process with COVID-19 when it comes to record requests, other than I do expect an uptick in the fall because of the closure that's going on right now.
Well, it's comforting to know that you at least have the process in place. So, it can ebb and flow, but the process is there. So what do you think is the greatest benefit so far to implementing K12 transfer?
Just a uniform process, that everybody's doing it the same way, that we can easily track what is going on. One big benefit that I have seen is to make it, we're making it uniform, but also it allows us to provide professional development for our secretaries, because I can go in and see who processed which requests, and if there is something that someone is struggling with, that they can easily, we can provide that professional development for them.
Okay, great. I have one final question for you, and it's about Scrib Order. So you started talking about Scrib Order at one point. I know that you use Scrib Order. Can you tell me what the benefit has been of that in COVID-19 with the funding, any of the...
Well, with Scrib Order, it's not really with COVID-19, but just in general, we have been able to, Scrib Order is paid for it pays for itself. And we have actually made money on with Scrib Order so that we can put that money back towards digitizing more records and get, improving the process more and more.
Perfect. Great. So Tanya and Bunny, thank you so much for telling your story today, and thank you for sharing.
And thank you for having us.
We really, really appreciate having you on today. For those of you viewing that had questions in the chat or the Q&A box, we will make sure it's answered via email. As always, this webinar has been recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel. Thank you all for attending the webinar today. We wish you a great, healthy, and productive week, and happy Mother's Day in advance to all the moms out there. Thank you. Take care. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.